My husband snuck a woman into our basement during a pandemic, while my kids and I were asleep upstairs. I haven't posted my story here yet, but I guess it's time. Apologies for the long rant. I need to put this somewhere, I guess. Almost 6 months ago I woke up sometime between 11 and midnight to my 15-month-old crying. I checked the monitor thinking her dad would be in with her, as he was still up and had been taking night duty the past few days to try and wean her. He was not in the man cave nor either of the bathrooms, which was weird. I went to the main floor to look for him but didn't see home. Went back upstairs to check, but didn't find him. At this point I started to get a little worried that something had happened to him. And then when I went back downstairs, I noticed the door to the unfinished basement was shut, which was unusual. I started to open the door when my husband came out. I asked him what he had been doing and he replied, looking at my baseball cards. He went upstairs to our daughter and I went down to the basement because something felt off. At first I didn't notice anything including baseball cards, but then I heard a weird noise and there was a half-dressed female trying to hide in the corner by the water heater. I asked her who she was. She told me Ashley, and I turned around. Abs headed back upstairs where I took my daughter from my husband and told him he needed to leave. He asked where he should go and I told him I didn't care. I went back downstairs to the basement and the girl Ashley was climbing out one of the windows. I said you can use the front door because I'm polite like that. We are getting divorced and I am doing all the things I am supposed to do. Therapy for myself and my 5-year-old. Self-care. Leaning on my support system. I need to. Being careful of what I say around the kids so they don't become more damaged by this. He is living in his parents' basement. Says he wants 50-50 custody but has had the kids one night a week for the last 4 months. Drags his feet on the divorce by found out he is dating. Ugh. I want to move on. To be happy. But it is so hard when the one person I trusted and let in more than anyone else so utterly rejected me. I feel thoroughly unworthy and unlovable right now. Bringing another woman into your home and during a pandemic. Clearly he's not worried about the safety of your 15-month-old, let alone yourself. Give him the Dad of the Year award. You're divorcing him. You're rejecting him. Him being a cheater doesn't make you unworthy or unlovable. Don't look at this through rose-colored glasses. See this for what it is. Don't tell yourself you were rejected by someone amazing. He is a pathetic and cowardly cheater. He snuck a woman into your basement while you and your baby were asleep. Duck, that is just gross. Call him Casanova of the Year. 2 brings the Ashley into a half-finished basement. Says hide behind the hot water heater when he hears his wife. Can't come up with anything more nuanced than looking at my baseball cards. And after being told to get out asks his wife, where should I go? Sweetie, you weren't rejected. This was a gift. It hurts right now, but you will get so much better. Your post made me laugh, so thank you for that. That description is spot on. Your husband sounds like such a loser. Seriously. I hope you destroy him in court. He is a loser, I guess. Not sure how it took me 10 years and 2 kids and an Ashley to see that. My heart sank when I read the title. My ex-husband did the same, except this was 4 years ago. To the day. He thought the kids and I were asleep, but I was waiting up for him. It was 3 a.m. and instead of coming into the front door, he came in through the basement first, went back out, then came in through the front. I was to move out that morning with the kids. Found out about his affair about a month earlier, and he thought it was okay to sneak her in and hide her in the basement so she'd be there after I moved out in the morning. I am so sorry you're going through this. I would never wish this feeling experience on anyone except the a-holes who thrust it onto us. There will come a day where he begs for you back. Says he wasn't in his right headspace, that it was a mistake and he misses his family together. Do not look back. He'll just destroy your life all over again with no remorse. I am here if you need me. Second story. I found them in our bed. Last week, I was completely and utterly happy. Head over heels in love with my fiancée. We've been together for years. We found out in May she was pregnant. Life didn't feel like it could get any better. I am an essential worker and still unfortunately have to travel from time to time for my job. I have been trying to cut down on plane travel and will drive if able. Last week I was scheduled to be gone all week, but ended up being able to leave several days ahead of time, but wanted to surprise my fiancée. It was an 8-hour drive, but ended up being close to 14 because of traffic and poor timing on my part. I get home around 10:30 p.m. and find her and a co-worker in our bed together having sex. She's an assistant producer at a local news station and he's one of the anchors. She immediately tries to defuse the situation and says it's not what I think it is and not to jump to conclusions. He jumps up and puts his clothes on and leaves. I was so angry I was seeing stars. She tries to talk to me about it, but I don't want to hear it. I leave and call a buddy and have been staying with him for the past 6 days. I spoke to her on the phone yesterday and she told me it was a one-time thing and she feels like the passion has been missing in our relationship, which I don't agree with at all. I think she was trying to justify the cheating and gaslight me. I am so angry and she won't stop harassing me. I don't know what to do. We're going to be parents and I don't want anything to do with her, but I am stuck with her for the next 18 years minimum. She hasn't even apologized. She just keeps trying to justify her actions. Update: so sorry for taking so long to update. This week has been hellish. Met with my friend's lawyer family law buddy early last week. He contacted her and threatened to go public about their affair, so she was more forthcoming with information. She told him they have been sleeping together for over a year. She's 85% sure the baby is mine because they never have unprotected eggs, but doesn't want to have a DNA test until the baby is born. Lawyer believes the baby is the other guy's based on this comment. I haven't fully moved out yet. Just moved a lot of my clothes into my buddy's place. The lawyer thinks I should sell the house and not let her buy me out because he doesn't think she has the funds and would BS me. Also, sorry if I didn't answer you. I got a ton of messages here and in DMs. I tried to answer any much as I could. If you have any other questions, I'll be on for a bit. Final update: since my post is now archived, I am still blown away by the amount of people checking up on me both in this thread and via DM. I really appreciate the support and love during this trying time. On to what you're here for. We did multiple DNA tests. The baby is mine. He was born a few weeks ago and is by far the greatest thing to happen to me. He makes all this mess worth it. His mother and I are not together. I strictly speak to her about the baby and that is all. House is sold. Closing is 3/1. But we do not need to be there. Still living with my buddy. Hoping to buy a new home in the next few months for my son and I. I did not go public with the affair out of respect for our son. Her employers know and she was terminated. He is still working there. I am not sure what their relationship consists of and I don't care. I am guessing he bolted. Third story. Discovered I am not my daughter's biological father. I just found out my 15-year-old daughter is not my biological child. My daughter was preparing for a family tree project for an online class and wanted an ancestry test. My father is half Native American, but he died several years ago and I don't know precisely what Native American blood is in the family. My daughter came to me because it was my father and we didn't mention it to her mother at the time. Well, it turned out my daughter doesn't have any Native American blood. The obvious conclusion didn't occur to me at first because the truth of the situation didn't seem possible. I assumed there was a mistake. My first thought was that my father hadn't been part Native American. So I took the test and everything became apparent. It was a very emotional situation for me and my daughter. What I will remember the most was after she started crying, she hugged so tightly and just kept saying over and over, "I love you, Daddy." At home I confronted my wife and she looked like she'd had a stroke. She started crying and apologizing. You can probably imagine it. My wife and I got married because she was pregnant. We had been together for more than a year when it happened. It turns out she was sleeping with multiple guys at the time. She says it didn't mean anything and she doesn't even remember some of their names. When she realized she was pregnant, she said she wasn't sure who her father was. Since I was unaware of her extracurricular activities, she let me believe I was the father because I was the most financially stable. In terms of that, she may have chose correctly. I have been very successful in my career and building passive income streams has been a hobby of mine for a long time. My daughter got my wife to admit to this on tape as my daughter records the whole thing. I asked my wife several times, and she keeps insisting that she has been faithful for the entire time we have been married. I've never suspected anything, but I also didn't realize she was sleeping around before we got married, so I've said I don't believe her. I've come across a lot of the red flags of cheaters and I can't think of any of them during our marriage. She doesn't use social media and she has never been guarded about her phone. She only drinks on special occasions and doesn't go out for girls' night or anything. Also, she is a stay-at-home wife mom, so here aren't any coworkers to worry about. She exercises at home as we have a very nice home gym. I don't believe her when she says she hasn't cheated after getting married, but I can't think of anything suspicious. We have a prenup, so I'm not worried about divorce if it comes to that. My daughter is another story. She is absolutely livid about the whole situation. I know teenagers can be emotional. I certainly remember how I was at her age, but she has never been very expressive. Something I thought she or for me, nature versus nurture. My daughter can't stand to be around her mother. She has said some truly awful things to her mother. Basically variations of calling her a dirty SLT who ruined our family. Whenever my wife tries to talk to her, my daughter yells and swears and cries like I have never seen. Christmas is coming up and my daughter is demanding my wife leave the house until after New Year's so she can spend time with her real family, meaning me. My daughter has even come on me privately saying that in the event of divorce she wants to stay with me. She has even asked if it is possible to disown her mother and be adopted by me. I haven't told this to my wife. My wife is preparing to leave for her parents' house for the holidays. My wife and I had talked about the situation but have decided to wait until after New Year's to make any decisions. I admit I'm grateful she agreed to leave because honestly I need some time to process this. I think I'm writing this as a way to just come to terms with everything that has happened. Edit: after writing this post I fell asleep for a few hours. I came back to the post after about 10 hours and realized there were more than 200 messages. Thanks to everyone who took the time to comment, it means a lot. Additionally, thanks for all of the compassion and kind comments. I was touched by the displays of support, and I'm not ashamed to say I shed a few tears. I still haven't read every message, but know I intend to, whether or not I respond to yours specifically. I want to address 2 consistent things mentioned in the comments. I've had a DNA test. After our ancestry tests were different due to her lack of Native American blood, we got proper DNA tests. That was when I confronted my wife. Looking back at the original post, I'm sorry for not making that clear. I have made it clear in no uncertain terms that she is my daughter and I am her father regardless of the situation. I've reiterated to her repeatedly that she can stay with me and I will never leave her. Several comments suggested she might be scared I will leave her or want nothing more to with her. Nothing could be farther from the truth, and I tell her every day. 4th story. I warned her. My ex 29 female and I 29 male met in college in 2013. I was 22 and she was 21. We became fast friends and eventually we developed feelings for each other. We became a couple a year later. It was a great relationship and I don't regret it. Fast forward to 2016. I was home when she called me saying she was outside and that we needed to talk. So I went outside and I saw that she was crying in her car. I went up to her and asked what's wrong. She confessed that she cheated on me. I don't want to go into details because I am trying to keep this short. I was shocked, hurt, and was teared up. She went on saying that we needed to break up because I deserved better than her and that she developed feelings for AP. I warned her about rushing it with someone else and that a relationship that begins by cheating usually ends badly. After we finished talking, I walked back to my house, but before I went in, I turned around to see her one more time and she was still crying. Once I went inside, she posted on social media saying I wish I could just disappear with a crying emoji. I proceeded to remove her from social media after that. As I was mourning the end of my relationship, I also thought about how her new relationship will blow up in her face. Fast forward 2 years later, she messages me asking me to meet up because she wanted to talk. I knew the day had arrived. So I met her at a diner. I live in New Jersey and she was miserable. She looked like she was crying before we met up. When she saw me, she gave a weak hi and gave her a cold one. This surprised her and got teary-eyed. I started by asking her what she wanted to talk about. She started saying that her and AP broke up 2 weeks ago and admitted that the relationship with him was horrible. It turns out he was a narcissist who emotionally abused her. She also admitted that the guilt of what she did to me never went away and that I was right. She then noticed my emotionless expression and turned away saying, "You used to be so happy and silly. It hurts seeing you like this and I know it's my fault because of my bad, selfish, and dumb decisions." She went to say, "I am sorry for everything I thought about you every day for the past 2 years." She then said, "Not only did I ruin us, but I lost my best friend. You were my best friend and I ruined that." She started crying again saying, "I am not here to get back together because I don't deserve that and I have no right to ask that." I proceeded to say that it's true that you don't deserve me. It gets quiet and she turned away again. I said that she missed me and that she missed me for 2 years. Then she asked me to be friends again. I told her I can't promise anything. She starts crying for the final time and I left the diner. As I was walking out, I turn over and she's still crying. How history repeats itself. In the end, cheating ruins the cheater and the victim. Never cheat, it's usually never worth it. Edit. So because I got numerous requests, I am going to post what happened after I left the diner. Hi everyone. I have decided to do an update to my original post due to numerous requests. This will be my only update since Therese nothing else to say afterwards. Before I go any further, I have some things to clarify about my original post. 1. The AP was emotionally abusive. I know because my ex showed me her text and it was full of "No one will ever love you like me and you're ugly." Also, he broke up with her by text. What a scumbag. 2. She did try, reached out to me multiple times during the 2 years she was with AP. She asked how I was doing. "I am sorry and are you okay?" I ended up not responding. I didn't block her because I was waiting for when her relationship blew up. 3. Friends and family actually saw her during the 2 years and they all said the same thing. She looked miserable and when she saw them she would run up to them and ask how I am doing, and to tell me that she will never stop being sorry. 4. The diner meeting happened in 2018. Now back to the story. After I got home from the diner, she messaged me saying, "If we become friends again, I'll work my butt off to earn back your trust, and if not, please know I'll always be sorry for everything." Fast forward a year later and I bumped into her at a while buying lunch. We caught up and I wasn't as cold as before. I will admit I am a little embarrassed about what I did next. I offered her a FWB with me and she accepted. The FWB lasted for a few months. When I look back, I think I did it for closure and to show her what she's missing. I ended it because I felt that I got my closure. She was disappointed but also understood. A few months later she started seeing someone new and they dated until early 2020 before the pandemic hit. She showed up to my home unannounced and revealed to me that the new guy cheated on her with multiple women and actually blamed her for the cheating. Just like the AP, the new guy broke up with her by text. While she went on saying how much she hated herself for what she did to me, but now she understands how I felt. I gave her a hug and told her to take these lessons and never forgot them. She thanked me and left. Fast forward to now. I heard she's an IC and remains single by choice. I saw her mother recently and she informed me. As for me, I am single, working on myself. I am getting into shape and I am working in psychology. Guess what inspired me? Thank you for reading my story. I appreciate everyone who read and replied. Hit like if you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing to our channel.